In a busy parking lot, a man parks his car in a handicap spot. He doesn't have a handicap placard, and soon a police officer approaches the car and tells the man to stay inside.
Stay in the car. Put your hands up there.
Hold on, man.
Put your hands up there. Hey, put your hands up.
The officer repeats his instructions and tells the man to put his hands up on the steering wheel. The man seems confused and a bit nervous. He tries to explain himself but keeps reaching into his pockets. The officer becomes more stern, telling him to keep his hands visible.
So the reason we're out with you is you parked in a handicap spot without a handicap placard. Do you have any handicap placard?
My mom does. I don't have it on me.
Okay, no big deal. So, do you have your license?
The man apologizes and says he didn't mean to cause any trouble. The officer explains why he approached the car. He tells the man that parking in a handicapped spot without a placard is not allowed. The man mentions that his mom has a placard, but he doesn't have it with him. The officer asks for the man's license.
Who's the car registered to?
My girlfriend.
Your girlfriend? All right.
Here's my other IDs, too.
What do you do for the city of Cleveland?
I'm a driver.
You're a driver?
Yes.
What do you drive?
Snow removal operator.
The man says he works for the city of Cleveland and that he's out shopping. He hands over his license and another ID. The officer asks who the car belongs to. The man replies that it belongs to his girlfriend. The officer then asks what the man does for the city. The man explains that he is a snow removal operator. The officer listens, takes notes, and continues to assess the situation.
Sit at the mall before?
Yes.
Yes. Did I arrest you?
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, I arrested you.
Yeah.
Are you still banned from the mall?
No, I don't think so. It was a long time ago, sir.
All right.
The man looks uneasy but admits that they have been arrested there in the past. The officer realizes that he was the one who made the arrest. The officer asks if the person is still banned from the mall. The person thinks for a moment and then says they don't think they are banned anymore because it was a long time ago. The officer tells the person to stand up at the front of the car with another officer.
That was my wife's gun. I don't carry a gun.
Just you're allowed to have that. No big deal. No guns in here?
No.
Is it all right if I check?
Yeah.
The officer remembers that during the last arrest, the person had a gun. He asks if the person has any guns on them now. He says no and explains that they took care of that issue with their wife's gun. The officer asks if it's okay to check, just to be sure. The person agrees and puts their hands on the car.
All right. Stand with this officer here. Hey, dispatch.
The officer recalls that the last time he arrested this person, they were given a 1-year ban. The officer decides to check the name through the ban records. The officer asks if the person has any guns or anything dangerous in their vehicle. They assure them that there are no guns and that they have taken care of everything downtown.
How long were you banned from the mall the last time I arrested you?
It was like, they gave me a year.
1 year?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you check a name through your ban book for me?
The officer tells the man that he's being placed under arrest. The officer explains that the man is actively banned from the mall and is now considered a trespasser. The man tries to protest, but the officer firmly instructs him to put his hands behind his back. The man insists that he has been following the rules and mentions being on paper. The officer repeats the order, telling the man to stop and listen.
You have no guns, anything in the vehicle?
No, I went downtown and handled everything. They
Okay.
gave me, I had to do probation. I made it off probation with no problem and everything.
Okay. Since you didn't tell us about the gun last time until we found it, do you have any problem with me checking to see if there's any guns in your car?
No, you can't search the car.
I can't search your car?
No.
Okay.
The officer checks the records and finds that the ban was issued on December 18, 2020 and involved a firearm in the vehicle.
That is affirmative. I do have an active ban on him that expires in 2025.
Copy. All right, go ahead and put your hands here.
18, that name sounds familiar.
You are being placed under arrest. You are actively banned from the mall.
The officer confirms this with dispatch, noting that the incident occurred in 2020 and mentions the presence of a firearm. The man realizes that he's still under the ban and complies with the officer's instructions.
Still banned.
It's going to take us a minute to pull the report, but the date the ban was issued was December 18th, 2020, and it involved a firearm in a vehicle.
Yeah, that was 2020.
Officer tells the man that his ban is much longer than a year. The man insists that he's been away for 2 years. The officer clarifies that the man's on probation and reminds him about the ban from Beechwood Mall due to having wire cutters and a firearm in a vehicle. The officer confirms the ban is still active.
Good mall.
Shoes, wire cutters, firearm in vehicle.
And the ban is active. Copy, and I'm assuming you would like him charged for trespassing.
That would make my day.
Finally, the officer tells the man he's under arrest for trespassing. The man looks confused and asks what he needs to do next. The officer explains that he'll need to post bond and then go through the court process. The man's told he can make phone calls once they get to the station.
I'm under arrest.
You're under arrest for trespassing.
Man. So what I gotta do to deal with this?
Go to jail
For how long?
until you get a bond and you post it, and then you have to go through court.
Can I call my,
I don't know what your bond is.
my girl or something?
We'll be able to make phone calls once we get back there.
The officer then explains that another reason they are there is because of someone reported seeing him come to his car 3 times with bags of items. The man looks puzzled, but the officer clarifies they're just relaying what was reported. The officer did not see it personally, but is acting on the information given.
I'm gonna read something. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can use against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk with a lawyer and have him or her present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you fully understand these rights as I've read them?
Yes.
A man stands near his car as officers approach him with serious expressions. They tell him that they receive reports of him coming out of his car 3 times, unloading bags of items, and then returning to the store. They point out that there's a lot of merchandise with tags still on them in the car.
3 times unload stuff into the car and then go back in. There's a ton of merchandise in there with tags
That's
on
my
it.
girl stuff.
That's your girl stuff that
Yeah,
she
it's
has?
her car.
She has receipts for all that?
That's her stuff, man. Y'all can't take her stuff, man.
Vuitton purses inside Louis, or inside your car. Those are going to come back stolen?
No.
Look at me. Those are going to come back stolen?
Come back stolen.
Okay, they already confirmed stolen.
The man tries to explain that the items belong to his girlfriend and that she has receipts for everything. He insists it's her stuff and they can't take it. The officers are not convinced. They specifically mention Mandy Vuitton purses and Louis Vuitton items, saying those items have already been confirmed as stolen.
So you're going to be arrested.
That's not my stuff, though, bro.
You're in possession. That's how. And they're gonna play back the video of you being in there.
The officer expresses frustration, mentioning he now has to complete a lot of paperwork instead of just going home. The man's arrested for possessing stolen property, criminal trespassing, and parking in a handicap zone. The value of the stolen items totals $6,240, including luxury brands like Louis Vuitton and Versace. Hey, if you think that was crazy, you haven't seen this video on your right-hand side.